Alright, what's going on, you guys? Brian here, and this is my NWA Power Recap for tonight's episode. So let's just get right into it. There were a lot of segments, interview segments on this show. One involving Tom Latimer and Camille. Uh, Latimer was talking about his matchup with Tim Storm. We also heard from Trevor Murdoch, as well as the question mark and Trevor Murdoch wanting another shot at the NWA National Championship, currently held by Aaron the Shooter Stevens. What else? We heard from Marty Bell, who was confronted by her former best friend Allison Kay, and that whole rivalry and bit that's going on there. But we started off the show tonight with a big time tag team match involving two teams that might or might not be a part of the upcoming Crockett Cup tournament coming up in April for that big pay-per-view. It was the Dawsons, accompanied by Pope, taking on the Bouncers from Ring of Honor, accompanied by Eddie Kingston. This was a battle of two heavyweight tag teams. And the Bouncers, in the end, picked up the win with their double team move that I believe they call it the Blackout. So that was a big victory for the Bouncers, Brian Malonis and Beer City Bruiser. Afterwards, one of the most funniest things happened after the match. The current NWA Tag Team Champions, Eli Drake and James Storm, were at the commentary table, and James Storm and the Bouncers were pouring beer into the Crockett Cup that they had set up near the table, and they started taking turns drinking out of the cup. And Stu Bennett, who used to be known as Wade Barrett in the WWE, Bad News Barrett, he made a comment. He's like, "Wait a minute, you guys can't drink that. You can't drink out of that. You have to win that first before you can drink out of it." So that was a pretty funny segment, and they tried to get Eli Drake to drink the beer out of it, but he was drinking water, and he had like a bottle, not a like a thermos bottle of water. And when he was like making people think that he was going to drink out of the Crockett Cup, but wound up taking a swig of his water. So that was a pretty funny segment on this show. I mentioned Tom Latimer. He was in action taking on former NWA World Champion Tim Storm. This was decent. Latimer picked up the win with the impale DDT, not like a impaler DDT, something like that. I don't remember. I forget what the name of it is. So he picked up the win over Tim Storm. We saw match number 2 for Ricky Starks in the Lucky 7, which is their new rule stipulation for the TV title. If a champion can successfully retain his championship in 7 matches, he would get a shot at the NWA World title. This is Ricky's second title defense, or this was Ricky's second title defense. He defeated Zicky Dice a few weeks ago. This time he defended it against Matt Cross, who he beat at Hard Times in the TV title tournament, first round. Decent match. I don't think it was as good as their Hard Times match, but it was okay. A little slow at first, in my opinion. It went the time limit draw, so Ricky Starks retained his championship, so that he has successfully retained his title. For the second time, he only has 5 more matches to try to retain that championship. So And plus, this is a huge opportunity for whoever the TV champion is if they can last 7 times and retain their championship, the TV title 7 times, that they get an opportunity at the world title. So that in and of itself is a huge opportunity. Afterwards, Zicky Dice came out cut a promo on Ricky. Obviously, nothing was settled in their title match from a few weeks ago. As I mentioned, we heard from Marty Bell talking about her former best friend Allison Kay. Allison came out, said that Melina's brainwashing Marty. She still cares about her. She will always be there for her. So, and Marty Bell walked away. So obviously, they're continuing that storyline. They had a NWA Power update with Sean Mooney, who announced that next week they're going to announce the location and date for the Crockett Cup. It's supposed to happen sometime in April, when they'll announce the location and what the date of that show is going to be. They also announced that next week NWA Power will take a 1-week hiatus, so it won't be back until February 25th. However, there's going to be, in replacing it next week for the 1 week, is going to be NWA Circle Squared, I believe it was called, where the where I think it's going to be like wrestlers that are not are looking for an opportunity with the NWA. They're going to be competing in front of the entire world, and the fans are going to get to decide who's going to earn an NWA contract. So that should be interesting to see who's going to be participating in that next week. They also announced a couple of other shows that are going to be debuting or coming between now and the Crockett Cup. One of them is going to be called NWA Superpower, which will probably be probably like a show for like there was for, I think it was before Hard Times. A bit something like that, or it might be something else. There was another one that was announced as well. I don't remember the name of it. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens with those shows. Tasha Steelz took on Melina. Melina looking to prove to the NWA Board of Directors that she's deserving of an NWA World Women's Title match. Of course, the NWA Board basically rejected her idea and her request for an NWA Women's World Title match. Of course, the women's title is currently held by one of Melina's confidants, Thunder Rosa. Melina picked up the win in a dominant fashion over Tasha Steelz, and then announced that next week it's going to be Melina versus Thunder Rosa for the women's championship. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. Sorry guys if I'm I seem like I'm out of it and rambling. I don't know what's wrong with me right now. But the main event was strictly business. Royce Isaacs and NWA World Champion Nick Aldis taking on the Rock and Roll Express. Rock and Roll Express looking to bounce back after losing their NWA World Tag Team Championships back at Hard Times in that triple threat match against Eli Drake and James Storm, where Storm and Drake won the titles. Decent match. Aldis and Isaacs picked up the win when Isaacs had rolled up Robert Gibson, I believe it was, and put his feet on the ropes and thus secured the 1-2-3. He was a little distracted by the presence of May Valentine and Sal Renaro, who were in the in the crowd, but that was not enough to stop him and Aldis from picking up the win. So that was pretty much it. Yeah, there was nothing really else. I'm trying to think. I think the only thing is that after the Latimer Tim Storm match, the fake Mama Storm made her presence, or made his presence felt, and basically confronted Tim Storm. So that was pretty much it for that when that happened. So yeah, pretty much I thought this week's episode was pretty good. Um, of course, next week it's going to be preempted for a week so that Circle Square NWA Circle Squared could take place. So it'll be interesting to see who participates in that. So with that being said, this has been my NWA Powerr Recap. As always, I am Brian, and thank you for watching.